कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परो प्रेमामृतं निधि धीराधीर जन प्रिय प्रियकरो निर्मत्सरो पूजितो श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरो भुवि भुव भारावहंतारको वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुग श्री जीव गोपालको कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परो प्रेमामृतं निधि धीराधीर जन प्रिय प्रियकरो निर्मत्सरो पूजितो नाना शास्त्र विचारणैक निपुण सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मन्नौ शरण्याकरौ नाना शास्त्र विचारणैक निपुण सद्धर्म संस्थापक लोकानां हितकारिणौ त्रिभुवने मन्नौ शरणाकरौ राधा कृष्ण पदारविन्द भजनानंदेन मत्वालिकौ वंदे रूप सनातनो रघुजुगौ श्री जीव गोपालको जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरो बनचारी वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरो बनचारी Mansa Paribhajagacharya Sakharishya Smana Pilitam Saraswati Goswami Bhagavad Gita Ananda Kori Vaishnava Gita Ramacharya Sridhar Thakur Gita Names of the whole Sri Krishna Sri Radha Krishna Bhogavna Sam Kanda Radha Kanda Giriyodan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Guru Dwarka Dham Ki Jai Swami Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai All glories to that. All glories to that. Thank you very much. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada.
Nadia Gojum Nityananda Mahajan Nadia Gojum Nityananda Mahajan Hatya Chinam Hate Jibera Karan Hatya Chinam Hate Jibera Karan Shradhavan Jan hai, Shradhavan Jan hai Shradhavan Jan hai, Shradhavan Jan hai Prabhu Agai Bhai Magiye Bhikha Prabhu Agai Bhai Magiye Bhikha Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika Bolo Krishna Bhajo Krishna Koro Krishna Shika Aparara Shunna Hoy Loho Krishna Naam Aparara Shunna Hoy Loho Krishna Naam Krishna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran Krishna Mato Krishna Pito Krishna Dana Pran Krishna Samsara Goro Chariyana Cham Krishna Samsara Goro Chariyana Cham Divedaya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasha Divedaya Krishna Nam Sarva Dharmasha Shradhavan Jan hai, Shradhavanjan he Shradhavanjan he Shradhavanjan he Nadia Gojum Nityananda Mahajan Nadia Gojum Nityananda Mahajan Katya Chenam Hat Jibera Karan
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. Our glories to Jagat Guru Prabhupada, our glories to Gurudev, and our glories to Samud Vaishnavi devotees. We thank you all for being here today. Today we are very much blessed. We have the presence of His Grace, Shri ADVAITA Krishna Prabhu, who is one of our own. He's a mentor to lots of us on this forum. And Prabhuji, we are very appreciative to have your association once again today. So without further ado, we may put the verse on the screen and then you may take it over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. I'll start with some Mangalacharan prayers. Om Agyan Timiran Dasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Guravin Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Sapatantikam Vandeham Siguro Shiyuta Kamalam Sri Gurung Vaishnavanscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Vishakhanditamscha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschata Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasari Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So today we are studying the second canto entitled The Cosmic Manifestation. Today's chapter is chapter 7, Scheduled Incarnations with Specific Functions. And today's text is text 25. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Deving Saraswating Vyasam Tato Jayam Udhirayet Nastaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Neshtiki Grantaraja Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Vakshastala Sparsha Rugna Mahendra Vaha Dante Vidhambhita Kubukjusau Sammasam Sadhyo Shubhi Sahavineshyati Dharaharthur Vishphur Jiter Dhanusa Ucharato Disanyai. So word meaning Vaksha Sthala, chest. Sparsha, touched. Rugna, broken. Maha Indra, the king of heaven. Vaha, the conveyor. Dantai, by the trunk. Vidambita, illuminated. Kakup Jusa, all directions being thus served. Udhaha, sung, overtaken by laughter. Shraddha, within no time. Ashubhi, by the life. Saha, along with. Vineshyati, was killed. Dharahartu, of the one who kidnapped the wife. Ispurjitei, by the tingling of the bow. Dhanusha, bow. Ucharataha, controlling, strolling fast. Adishanyei, in the midst of the fighting soldiers of both sides. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions. But his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra, the personality of Godhead, purport by his divine grace. However powerful a living being may be, when he is condemned by God, no one can save him. And similarly, however weak one may be, if he is protected by the Lord, no one can annihilate him. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So I read again the translation. When Ravana was engaged in the battle, the trunk of the elephant which carried the king of heaven, Indra, broke in pieces, having collided with the chest of Ravana, and the scattered broken parts illuminated all directions. Ravana therefore felt proud of his prowess and began to loiter in the midst of the fighting soldiers, thinking himself the conqueror of all directions, but his laughter, overtaken by joy, along with his very air of life, suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra, the personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. So this is a small description of the severity and the strength of the conflict between Indra and Ravana. So the demons, they undertake an interesting project. Their project is to replace the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Ravana was a very powerful personality. He was so powerful that he thought that he could actually conquer the demigods. And generally, this is what happens. And in the Paribhasa Sutra of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is explained, Ete Changsa Kalaha Pumsas, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, which is text 128. Ete Changsa Kalaha Pumsas, Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Vridyanti Yuge Yuge. That the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears whenever they are Indra Ari, whenever they are enemies. Ari means enemies. Whenever there are enemies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they generally want to attack those who are the delegated powers of the Supreme Lord in the material universe, which are the demon, which are the devatas, the demigods. So Ravana, he wanted to attack Indra, and in the fight that ensued, actually Indra was vanquished, because there are always these two elements, those elements of dharma and those elements of adharma. In the path of creation by Lord Brahma, in the beginning, eons of creation, Lord Brahma created adharma as well. And there are a lineage of kings who appear in the path of adharma. And we read about that, for example, Maharaj Vena. He appeared in the lineage of Dhruva Maharaj. And Dhruva Maharaj was a saintly king. Dhruva Maharaj's father was Uttanapad, was also fairly saintly. His brother, Uttanapad's brother, was Maharaj Priyavrata. And their father was Maharaj Swayambhuva Manu. And Swayambhuva Manu being the son of Lord Brahma. So that's a lineage of dharma, or dharmic people. But even Maharaj Anga, who appeared in the dynasty of Dhruva Maharaj, from the side of Anga's wife, Sunita, there was a lineage of adharma. And therefore it manifested after a little while in the dynasty of even Dhruva Maharaj, when Anga became a vile, not very nice, very cruel person. So the story is very simple in a sense that in the material world we struggle for control. And because we struggle for control, we struggle for power. And because we struggle for power, we want to replace the most powerful. And in this material world, we also strive and struggle for riches. We strive and we struggle for strength. We strive and we struggle for reputation. But these qualities belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Strength, supreme beauty, knowledge, reputation, renunciation, and riches. These are all the wonderful qualities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But in the material world, when we come here, to be able to lord it over, we want to possess these qualities that exclusively come from Sri Krishna. And Lord Sri Krishna, he shares some of his qualities in the spiritual realm with his devotees, or even in the material realm. And the devotees understand that if they have a certain ability, a certain quality, then it is only because Lord Krishna has very kindly shared some of his qualities with us. But the demons, they want to possess these qualities to supplant, to superimpose, to ride over the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his legitimate representatives here in the material creation, being the demigods. So over and over again, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam. Indrari, the word is mentioned, Indrari. So because Krishna wants his the living entities in this material world to live nicely. Krishna wants them to live happily. Krishna doesn't necessarily want us to suffer. And he creates a system whereby performance of yajna under the supervision of the demigods, everyone can live very happily. And everyone can progress according to their position in varnashram, according to the swadharma, according to the ashram they are, according to the varna they are. And they're working nicely under the order organized and executed and implemented by a saintly king, all the way up to the heavenly planets. But whenever there are enemies of the master who controls the order in this material world, which is the king of heavens, he's trying to control, at least relatively speaking. Krishna doesn't let that kind of thing happen. He doesn't want this sthanam, which is this place for sustenance of the jivas, this place for refuge of the jivas in the material creation, which he calls sthanam in Srimad Bhagavatam. He doesn't want it disturbed. He wants it going smoothly. But whenever there are some problems, it is always the enemies, the people who causes the problems, they come as enemies of Indra. So Indrari Vyakulam, and they create incredible, Vyakulam means incredible disturbance, lokam in the world. Mridyanti yuge yuge. And millennium after millennium, this is happening. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he appears whenever there are disturbances in the order of things that are set in motion, that are maintained, that are kept in within lines, within limits by the Devatas, headed by Indra. So in the Paribhasa Sutra, 1328, this is actually the guiding verse of Srimad Bhagavatam, which says that Etecha angsa kalaha pumshas, all other incarnations and expansions of expansions which are called kala. Etecha angsa kalaha pumsas. Krishna to Bhagavan. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and all others are angsas. All others are angsas, and all others are incarnations or expansions of expansions. And Krishna's to Bhagavan, so Krishna is only the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But here we talked about Lord Ramachandra. Lord Ramachandra's position is very interesting, because generally some of the incarnations of Lord Narayan, they actually do not exhibit the relationships or the varieties of rasa that Lord Ramachandra exhibit. Lord Krishna in the spiritual world, Lord Krishna in Bhoma Vrindavan, Lord Krishna exhibit all these different pastimes in different rasas. And Lord Narayan, he only exhibit Dasyaras fully. Dasyaras is fully nicely implemented, and everyone is very nicely serving Lord Narayan in Vaikuntha under Dasyaras, and it is fully exhibited. But Lord Ramachandra, he exhibit all the different five rasas, but in a slightly controlled way. So what am I getting at is, in Lord Ramachandra's pastimes, you see that there is Dasyaras, very well manifested. So many wonderful varieties of his subjects, so many wonderful devotees, even headed by Hanumanji, is in the mood of dasya, of servitorship. And there are crores of people who have very wonderful relationship of appreciation and respect of the Lord, but to have no personal direct service, some of them being his citizens and others being other varieties of jivas. So Santaras is also very nicely exhibited. But Sakyaras is also exhibited by Lord Ramachandra, isn't it? An interesting pastime. I was just thinking about it. Because he has brothers. He has Bharat, Shatrugna, and Lakshman. The Madhurya Ras is also exhibited by Lord Ramachandra, isn't it? Because he has wife. And Lord Ramachandra also gives opportunity for his parents to develop this rasa, because the rasas is developed by the devotees, not by the Lord. So the devotees, the subordinates, they develop the rasa. So the parents, Dasarat and Kaushalya, develop that kind of rasa with Lord Ramachandra. But interestingly, these rasas are subdued, except for the Dasyaras. Hanuman acts perfectly, very nicely in Dasyaras. And Lord Ramachandra is a very interesting incarnation, because this is a list of incarnations. And this is also one of the reasons that Srila Prabhupada, he actually put Lord Ramachandra, because he exhibits the five rasas, just like Lord Krishna, but in a subdued way. Why? Why is the Sakyaras subdued? Bharat is his brother. Shatrugna is his brother. Lakshman is his brother. Right? They're all free. They are Lord Ramachandra's brother. Right? They're all Ramachandra's brother. But how do they treat Lord Ramachandra? How do they relate to Lord Ramachandra? Is it exactly like Lord Balaram relates to Lord Krishna? Or is the relationship of Lakshman, or Shatrughna and Bharatji slightly different? Anyone can make an attempt to, how is that different? Anyone?
Hare Krishna, if I may try, in the case of Lakshman and Sri Ramchandra's relationship, Lakshman, even though was a younger brother, pretty much served as a servant or a devotee.
Yes, yes. But even Bharat and even Shatrughna, they served him as the Lord, as a master. So in the Sakya Ras, or the brotherly love that they had, they treated him more like a master. Now, Sita Devi had she was married to Lord Ramachandra, but even their relationship, Mother Sita considered considered herself to be Lord Ramachandra's servant.
Yeah.
In very much the same way as Lakshmi Devi considered herself to be the servant and always sitting at the lotus feet of Lord Narayan. And Sita Devi was exactly the same. And Maharaj Dasrath and Kaushalya, they were aware of the divinity of Lord Ramachandra. So therefore, they did not dare to become too familiar in their relationship in Vatsalya Ras. So what an interesting. So therefore, because Lord Ramachandra exhibited these things, Lord Ramachandra's position is much higher than just an incarnation of Lord Narayan. You see, in Mathura, the rasas are also exhibited. In Gokul, the rasas are exhibited naturally. We know that. But Lord Ramachandra does not give opportunity for other jivas to develop that kind of relationship with him. Like, for example, he took the Ekapatni Vrata. Lord Ramachandra, he took the position of one wife. And therefore, being attracted by his beauty, super excellent beauty, and his sweetness, if ever anyone else wanted to develop an amorous conjugal relationship with Lord Ramachandra, he would not have that. He would not accept that. Whereas Lord Krishna, he had 16,000 wives. And on top of that, he had billions and billions of girlfriends. So then Lord Ramachandra's scheme of things were very much in respect to Vedic principles and according to the strict rule of the Vedas, but he still had the five rasas exhibited. Whereas Lord Krishna, he goes beyond, he goes parakiya. He goes over and above normal relationships within the cadre, within the confines and within the limit of Vedic culture. Lord Krishna has paramula, parakiya, rasa. But still Lord Ramachandra exhibit these five things, which is not to be found in Lord Narayan. So that's why Lord Ramachandra is, when you read Ramayana, you see there is a range of beautiful emotions that are explained in Ramayana, Very interesting to read all these pastimes. And the mothers and fathers treating him like son, but from a distance, very respectfully, not like, baby, not like my little boy, but very respectfully. Even the spiritual master, Vishwamitra, was very cautious on his way he was dealing with Lord Ramachandra, even though he was a spiritual master of Lord Ramachandra. So this is a very, very interesting pastimes. And therefore, Lord Ramachandra is listed here in the schedule of incarnation, right? To be, I think, Prabhupada mentioned here which number it is. Anyway, it's just before Krishna and Balaram, right? And then after that, we'll get the incarnations of Krishna Balaram, which some other lecturers will read. So Ravana was very, very proud. He was extremely proud of his prowess, and he was fighting and he was killing all the soldiers of in the battle. But finally, of course, here it is not like this verse is interesting the way it is put together by Shukadev Goswami Vyasadeva, but it is actually combining a few things here. First, there was a fight with Indra, and then there was another fight, right, with Lord Rama, which is not exactly the same fight. When you read it, you'll think that it is the same fight, but it isn't the same fight. But because there is an explanation of the incarnations of Lord Rama, the verse condenses, a couple of important, events in the pastimes of Lord Rama. For example, there was an incident where he was fighting with Indra and Airavata, the elephant who had 3 tusks. His tusks were broken. He had 3 trunks, and his tusks was broken into pieces. And because it was a divya, it was transcendental elephant. It was a very powerful elephant, and he had very intense mystic powers. And these elephants were meant to fly in the sky and so on and so forth. Then bits and pieces of the trunk of the elephant that was broken was illuminating all the different areas, all the different directions. But then when we are talking in the last line, right, but his laughter overtaken by joy along his life ceased. It is not in the same battle. That was a final battle where Lord Ram had actually made the bridge between Rameshwaram and Sri Lanka. And he had actually built that bridge with the help of his Vanara Sena, with his monkey army and the Kimpurushas. And he had actually built that bridge, and he had gone over to Sri Lanka, and he had a huge fight with Lakshman and Hanumanji and all the monkey warriors, with actually Dashanan, which is Ravana, who was very, very powerful. But then when that happened, Lord Ramachandra tried to kill him by cutting off his heads, but it was not possible to kill him. As soon as he would cut one of his head, another head would take its place in a mystic way. So because he has this internal sense and internal power that is so intense that he can replace parts of his body. But then Meghanath, and Vibhishan, who was the brother of Lord of Hanumanji, who had gone on the side of Hanuman, he told Lord Ramachandra that actually the best thing is you kill him by shooting him in the navel. That's where he holds his life here. And therefore it is said that, but he had intense laughter and overtaken by joy because he was so powerful. But then that laughter that went on for every time he was fighting in battles and all so on and so forth. Whatever he was fighting with Indra, whether he was fighting with this personality or that personality, he would be always victorious, and he would be always laughing in victory, joy, right? But then that victory, that sense of joy that he was enjoying, was just suddenly cut short when Lord Ramachandra twanged his bow, an arrow, and the string of his bow, and then took an arrow and killed Ravana by shooting him in the navel. So therefore, his very air of life suddenly ceased with the tingling sound of the bow of Ramachandra. So if someone is protected, Prabhupada saying in the purport, however powerful a living being may be, and you don't see that the power of the demons go for very long. The power of the devotee can go on for a very, very long time. Yesterday we were talking about that. You see how powerful is Narada Muni. Narada Muni is so powerful. And His power is almost unlimited. Devotional Shakti, his devotional power is almost unlimited. And is able to deliver even the lowest kind of creatures. And he delivered Mrigari. And because of his devotional acumen, because of his bhakti, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narad Muni is known forever and ever in the annals of creation. He's able to go to all the different universes, and he's able to understand what's going on in one different universe from another universe. But do you know any demons that has been from time immemorial still doing his evil things? No, there's no. Do you follow my point? There is no demon that is going on and on and on. Ravana, he had his episode and he was eliminated. Hiranyakashipu, he went on for a period of time, he was eliminated. Hiranyaksha, he went for a period of time and he was eliminated. Right? And similarly, Kumkarna, and similarly Shishupal, Dandavakra, Jarasandha, and Trinavrata, and all the demons, they came in for a little bit of time. But Krishna actually, when he says in this verse, Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Ridyanti Yuge Yuge, life, millennium after millennium after millennium, these demons come, but then their song and dance, their abuse, their violence, their demoniac tendencies doesn't go on forever. It doesn't go on forever. And even when there are huge wars that was going on, we had a big demon called Hitler, and he was on this earth planet, but he didn't last for more than 10 years or maybe 15 years. His atrocities were cut short. And in an interesting purport in the 12th canto, I think it's in the 12th canto, a very interesting purport is where Srila Prabhupada is saying, let me get that, if I can get it, I can read it, about the demon's power. Just give me a minute. I have it here. Just give me a minute, bear with me, devotees. I had an interesting conversation here. There's so much on my phone, cannot always remember where it is.
Prabhuji, if you remember the verse, then I may share.
Yeah, I am not able to remember. It's an article by Srila Prabhupada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's an article by Srila Prabhupada. Anyway, in that article, in that purport, Srila Prabhupada was saying something very interesting. He's saying that even when there are fights between the demons on this planet, this is an arrangement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to get rid of the burdens on the Mother Earth.
Oh, yeah.
So this is the main point. Okay, so let me just explain it. So he's saying that when there are two big parties fighting, for example, we had the Second World War, the Third or the First World War, that battle, those episode was arranged by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So these big demons, that we know in this age of Kali, they may think that they are creating all this havoc. We have this war between Russia and Ukraine, and it is supported by other big demonic civilizations who do not care about the ordinary people being trampled. But actually, these wars are created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the same way like you have very atrocious situations like heavy heat, heavy rainfall, heavy snow, and floods and earthquakes. These are the Rudra principles of destruction. And these are all under the auspices of Lord Shiva, who tries to destroy, to recreate a balance. And these are explained in the second, third canto also as the Rudra principle. So these things, that when you have a huge pestilence, this pestilence is ordained by God, and it is actually put in place by the demigods, so that there's some burdens of society are removed. So similarly, when we have these big wars between civilizations, big wars between countries, between one huge party and another, these wars actually, they don't go on forever. Krishna is doing a very specific function of elimination of certain elements in society, and he creates these wars. So when Lord Ramachandra came, Hanuman had his episode, Ravana, he had his episode, and he was doing all these incredible, tyrannical rule and terrorism, and he was terrorizing everyone, and he was doing all these different things. That was only for a small period of time, if you think about it. Sometimes it may go on for a few hundred years or 1,000 years or so, but in the scheme of things, this doesn't go on forever. But our devotees who attain, salvation, who attain a spiritual position, their influence go on for years and years and years, for millenniums. Sukadeva Goswami, Vyasadeva, Sita, Devala, Narada, Pulastya Muni, and Vashishta Muni, and all of these great sages, the Saptarishis, their influences go on for forever and ever, because Krishna wants these good people, influencers in society, because he wants his children, he wants the jivas in this world to live as best they can with peace and prosperity. So therefore, these nasty wars, this pestilence, it is in the same category. Just like you have a massive environmental crisis, you have a flood, you have a big, cold spell, or a huge heat wave, and then people are killed, or you have a massive earthquake and thousands of people are killed. So similarly, wars are also created by the personality of Godhead for the destruction and removal of nasty elements in the material world. But when there are some very powerful demons, and they actually try to dislodge Indra from his position, he is being the king of heaven, and therefore he has jurisdiction over all the other demigods who perform their duties with regard and respect to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when they are challenged, Indrari, Vyakulam Lokam, then the Lord, he comes himself. And Lord Ramachandra came because of the atrocities of Ravana. And therefore he is listed on one of the scheduled incarnations. And most of the time, these incarnations are coming because of that. Indrari Vyakulam Lokam Lidyanti Yuga Yuga. Because they create disturbance to the order of the world, and the order of the world being sustained by Indra, by him being the king of heaven, and also in charge of many departments and many demigods, who each in charge of different departments, and therefore they make sure that things are going on. And when these are disturbed in a massive way by some big demons, then instead of allowing the Rudra principle of Lord Shiva to rebalance things, Lord, he comes himself. When these people go as high up as challenging Indra, like we had seen also when Vamana Dev he came, and Bali Maharaj had actually replaced Indra. But even though Bali Maharaj was a devotee, still he was considered to be of the lineage of the demons. He was a Daita. So therefore, when he wanted to to take the position of Indra, he was able to do so. Right? And therefore, Vamanadev came. And under the instructions of his spiritual master, Sukracharya. Right? Bali Maharaj went to Vamanadev. And Sukracharya had advised him, be careful, this may be Lord Vishnu. But he did not care. He wanted to surrender, even though he was a few generations down from Hiranyakashipu. But he accepted. And Indra, he was crying to Vamanadev, please, please get back my kingdom from this Bali Maharaj. Right? Get back this kingdom of mine from Bali Maharaj. And even though Bali Maharaj was a more highly elevated personality. In the 5th canto, I think in the chapter 26, in the last verse, you will read how Bali Maharaj said, of all the education and all the high association and all the intelligence that Indra has, I think of him as being one of the most unintelligent person on the earth. Because when he was asked, he could have actually asked for the service and the love of Vamanadev. Instead, he begged Vamanadev to give his kingdom back. And he said, he's so foolish, he's uneducated, and so is his spiritual master, because Bali Maharaj was a great devotee. But still, to keep the order of things, to keep the order of things. Lord Vamanadev said, okay, now we'll take the kingdom back from Bali. And therefore, he enacted this pastime of asking free steps of land. And then he took away the whole kingdom of Bali Maharaj to give it back to Indra. And then Bali Maharaj said, I don't want anything. Being a pure devotee of the Lord. He finally had Bali Maharaj being a doorkeeper in Sudalapuri. Bali Maharaj had Vamanadev being as a doorkeeper in Sudalapuri. So the demons have a specific purpose, but sometimes you do get some very powerful personalities who are great, great devotees, but Maharaj being one and Prahlad Maharaj being another. Bali Maharaj said that in my generation, the only person who had sufficient intelligence not to ask anything material or even liberation was Prahlad Maharaj, because Prahlad Maharaj never asked for anything. Even he was offered the best of benedictions. And Nrsingadev being the best of personalities who can give the best of benedictions. And he said, what benedictions can I give you? I am the best of people who can give you benedictions. And he said, I don't want none. I want none. I don't want even liberation. I don't want anything else. I want pure devotional service. So it goes to show that, being in a material position and having a lot of opulence, you are always challenged. But even if you're coming from very, low background and difficult background, if you become a servant of Krishna, then you get the highest level of prosperity, spiritual prosperity and material prosperity. Indra, he fought with Ravana and he lost. And Lord Ramachandra had to come and sort him out. So this is a regular story, but the demons don't go on forever. So no matter how much the heavy situation can be, it will stop. It will stop. Except that in Kali Yuga, we don't know the intensity of the irreligiosity, the intensity of the terror, the intensity of the evil-minded and crooked people. How will they enact? We don't know. But still, Lord Chaitanya has appeared. Still, Lord Chaitanya has appeared. And Lord Chaitanya has given us the sound vibration of the Mahamantra to counteract the evils of Kali Yuga. So we are blessed. We are blessed again by Lord Chaitanya, who appears to give us the chanting of the holy name of Krishna in this world. Even though the times are very difficult, people have no compassion for anyone. Outright killing of women and children and the weak and the unprotected in wars is going on all over the place. But we can keep hope that by chanting the holy name of Krishna under the protection of our Guru Parampara and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we can be saved. But these are difficult times. But these difficult times, they will change. They may change we may have some reprieve for a little bit because we're in a very bad situation in Kali Yuga. But Lord Ramachandra's time was not so bad. But it's still, for a period of time, you had Ravana who created havoc. And Lord Ramachandra twanged his bow, his string of his bow, and killed him. So he's listed as one of the scheduled incarnations in this 7th chapter of the 2nd canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Prabhupada. So I will end here. And if anyone wants to open up a few questions for 15-20 minutes, we can answer some questions. I have had a week, fairly intense week, and next week we're having a graduation ceremony for devotees who've been having systematic study of Srimad Bhagavatam with us the last 3 years. And then also for the last year, from November 2022 to this year's November 2023, we had a group of about 30-40 devotees who were studying Bhagavad Gita. So we have a graduation ceremony being organized next week. So I thank Sahadev Prabhu and all the devotees on the platform thinking of me all the time, giving me an opportunity every so often. So thank you very much. So anyone has any questions or any comments? Sahadev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for the wonderful Krishna Katha as always. Dear devotees, if anyone may have a question, comment, realization you would like to share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand, and you'll be asked to unmute to speak. Hare Krishna.
Hare
But
Krishna.
we have one quick question. The Dasavatar, the 10 primary incarnations of Krishna. If my understanding is wrong, please correct me. But my understanding is that out of the 10 incarnations listed,
Yeah.
from Matsya to Kalki,
Yes.
it seems to me that they are all Vishnu Tattvas except Lord Buddha, who is Shakti Avesh. And I'm wondering, if that is the case, why is a Shakti Avesh avatar listed as one of the avatars of the Supreme Lord when all the others are Vishnu Tattvas? But this Buddha is a Jiva Tattva, is an empowered incarnation. Why that is so?
I've never thought about this question, to be honest with you, and I have never looked into it or read anywhere why Prabhupada explains about that. I actually was under the impression myself that Lord Buddha, but then also you have in the list of incarnation that is listed here, over and above the Dasavatar, you have also Dattatreya, which is in the similar category. And you have Narad Muni, is also in a similar category here in this list of 27. Or how many listed in this section here?
I think 28.
28, yeah. So I'm not so sure why is a specific list. But then also when Jayadev Goswami, he writes this prayer about Lord Buddha, Keshava Drita, Buddha Sharira Jai Jagadishari, he qualifies him as Keshava Drita, as in incarnations of Lord Keshava. So I don't know the specifics of it, but empowered incarnation can also do almost the same thing as a Vishnu Tattva can do in a limited way, because each incarnations are doing a limited number of things. They're not doing the variety of activities that the Vishnu Tattva avatar is meant to do. So you can see that, for example, even in the case of Narad Muni, he is considered to be the Bhakti Shakti avatar. Ritu Maharaj is supposed to be the incarnation of the kingly order, and so is Rishabh Dev sometimes. But these are not so listed here, so I don't know why. I don't know why. But the interesting point, like I said, is Jadev Goswami still writes Keshava Drita Buddha Sharira. So he is Keshava, who's taken the body of Buddha, just like Keshava Drita Narahari Rupa. So it is Keshava, which means Lord Sri Krishna himself. So why is that distinction? I don't know.
Hare Krishna.
And also the other point is also, have you ever thought, why is these 10 incarnations important? I have never heard any explanations anywhere. And I have looked. Have anyone found any incarnation? Because here, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our main pramana, Sahadev, 28 are listed. Right? And
Yes.
of course, in the purport Prabhupada, there's as many incarnations are the waves in the oceans. So why these 28? And then why these 10?
One thing I observe with the Dasavatar, the 10, it's you see like evolutionary process in that, in the sense that the first incarnation, it's of like a lower conscious entity. And then gradually it evolves to a higher conscious entity.
Well, that is some speculation. I've also read about that. There's some speculation.
That is quite different from crazy, excuse me, language, Darwin's theory of evolution, because the Supreme Lord, even if he appears as a worm, is still fully cognizant. But externally speaking, it appears that there is some sort of evolutionary process. So my thinking is that Krishna is helping us understand that devotional service is not static. It keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like Lord Chaitanya said, Ananda Buddhi Vardhanam. But that is my speculation. that so many things is kind of difficult to understand. Like you rightly said, why out of the 28, 10 are listed, and why 28 are even mentioned when they are unlimited. So it's interesting.
Yes, but one thing for sure is that the Lord incarnates in all the different species. At least that one thing we have read from Srimad Bhagavatam, that the Lord does appear in all the different species. Not just that the Lord will appear only in the human species. He appears in the human species, and then he says, Manusim tanam ashitam param bhavam ajanantam mama bhuta maheshwaram. You know? So it's like that.
I think
we're saying maybe 25. Let me just get the list. I have the list here. Second canto. Yeah, these things are always difficult to remember. Second list of incarnations. 2-7.
I think they are 28, but we'll see.
I was also having some doubt, and PRABHU mentioned this, and then yeah. Well, the first one is Varaha, the second one is Suyagya, third one is Kapila, fourth one is Dattatreya, fifth one is Kumara, then sixth one is Narnarayan, sixth one is Prishnigarbha, seventh one is Prithu, 8, 9, 6. Actually, 6 is not an Narayan, it's considered two. But it's, you know, I don't know, it's considered one or two. And so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. Yes, he's mentioned 25, but then the last one, Prabhu, is Guna Avatar. Yeah, the last one is mentioned, the Guna Avatar, and the 24th one is Kalki. And the 23rd one is Buddha. Yeah, there's a slight interesting point about this here, that Jiva Goswami talks about this Buddha, which you mentioned, that this Buddha appeared in a different Kali Yuga.
Oh, okay.
So that Buddha that is being mentioned here is appeared in a different Kali Yuga, not this one here.
Okay.
And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also mentions that.
Okay.
So here I have it here, but I didn't remember. So if you read in the purport, I don't know whether in the purport, which is text 30, what text would that be? 37. Let me see. Yes. Let me see it for a minute. It's good to bring this point. It's nice. So 37. Yes. No. Yes, it is said, the incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in this present history of mankind. And it is in the purport. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali age. So therefore, it could possibly be, that's why I was thinking, how do you corroborate Keshava Dritta Narahari Rupa?
Yeah.
So because Jiva Goswami is saying the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali age, right? And in the duration of life of one Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas. And in one of them, the particular type of Buddha mentioned here would appear. Lord Buddha incarnates at a time when the people are most materialistic. And he preaches a kind of common sense religious principles. So maybe you have your answer in a hidden way.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
yeah.
I'm getting it.
You're getting it. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for bringing it up. And thank you for our Prabhu.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for our Prabhu. So yeah, 25 is listed. 25 listed up to, you know, in the text. Yeah, 25 listed.
I think probably the reason others list them as 28 is because others do not count the 4 Kumaras as 1. They count them as 4. So if they do that, then it will be 28. But if the 4 Kumaras are counted as 1 unit, then that makes it 25. Do you get my point?
Yes, but that's not how it is done.
Yeah.
I think it's counted as 1. But then you would go Narayan Rishi as 2.
Yeah, exactly. It's very interesting.
So you cannot, you cannot do that. Yeah. So what does it say about now? Let's have this. It's nice. This is a much better kind of way of studying. So text 5, in text 5, it talks about it's 1 incarnation. The 4 Kumaras, they appear all together as 1, and they represent 4 different types of jnana, 4 different types of knowledge. They're the jnana incarnations. One is I can't remember now. They appeared when Brahma underwent austerities for creation, and they established the spiritual truth because they had actually very powerful personalities or very powerful personalities. What does it say? Let me go to text 5. You've studied this, yeah? So the Lord's name are Sanat and Sanatanama. The Lord and living entities are both qualitative Sanatan, the eternal, but the Sanatan, the living entities are positively Sanatan. So it doesn't say much here. The mission of Brahmaji was fulfilled by the grace of the Lord when the 4 Sanas, namely Sanaka, Sanatana, Sanandana, and Sanat Kumar, appeared as his four sons. The four sanas were incarnations of the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, and as such, they explain transcendental knowledge so explicitly that all the sages could at once assimilate this knowledge without the least difficulty. So they are counted as one. Because they never act independently, do they?
No.
You never hear of two of the brothers doing something here and two of the brothers doing something else. No, they don't.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I think we have Harichakra Prabhu's hand up. Please, you may unmute Harichakra Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Haribol.
All these deeper Krishna Lilas and all that.
You're breaking up.
I was also. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Am I there now? Okay.
Go ahead, yes.
Okay. Yeah, so I said I was also a little bit confused about the question that Adi Prabhu was asked. But in my way, I was also thinking that I've heard that sometimes when even Lord Brahma is said to be a Jiva Atma, but sometimes when there is no Jiva Atma who is qualified to act as Brahma, then Lord Vishnu himself will act as Brahma. So if that is the situation, could they also be the same applying to the Buddha situation, that in some ages, if no Jiva Atma is qualified to be like represent come as Buddha, then the Lord himself will appear. Because what you just said, the code that you said that was it Jiva Goswami or someone was referring to Buddha, one of the incarnation of Buddha as ADVAITA. So
it doesn't mean a lot this way or that way, because even though Lord Brahma may be a Jiva, he's considered to be an expansion of Lord Vishnu. And you have to understand, we cannot always see everything in such black and white, as because the Lord can empower a pure devotee beyond measure, and he can be as powerful. Like one famous personality very nicely said, Lord Brahma can create a universe, but a pure devotee, he can liberate a whole universe. So then who is more powerful?
The devotee.
Yes. So, so a jiva empowered to the extent that Lord Brahma is empowered to create. Lord Vishnu considers him to be an expansion of himself, and he grows from the navel of Lord Vishnu. So it means a lot. So there should not be too much of understanding. For example, we see that even Lord Rishabdev, sometimes he's considered a plenary expansion, sometimes he's considered a Shakti Aveshavatar. So, and some of the Vyasas, sometimes they're considered to be an expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sometimes there's a Jiva Tattva who is empowered. But, for example, we bow down to our spiritual master, who we consider to be a Jiva, a liberated Jiva, who is giving us access to the spiritual world. And his power is incredible, because he can deliver so many of us back to Godhead. So in terms of understanding, yes, there may be some slight importance to it, but in the ultimate scheme of things, yeah.
All right, thank you so much, Prabhuji. We have like 2 hands up. Jagannath Prabhu, please, you may unmute. You are muted, Prabhuji.
Ubzan mute put
Okay.
Okay, good.
Prabhu, you said that Ramji exhibited 5 rasas. The Sakya rasa and the Madhurya rasa. And I could not follow you. I could not understand the other 3 rasa.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, so that
Only
first
the
is the
Sakya and the Madhurya I got.
yeah, and the first one is a Shanta. Shanta means, people appreciate you for being great, but they have no great relationship with you. Shanta. Then you have Dasya, which means servant. Lord
So,
Hanuman
is Shanta like neutral?
Yeah, neutral.
Okay.
They have a lot of appreciation, lot of worship, lot of thing, everything, but there's no desire to serve. Appreciation, but no service. And just like, you may like your president in Ghana or wherever, but you don't want to go and do anything. Oh, he's a nice president. I like him a lot. I wish he stayed the president for longer because he's a good man. He's this and that. You have a lot of appreciation. So you have some kind of rasa of appreciation of his greatness, of his quality and everything. But if someone asks you, why don't you go and cook for him and clean? No, I don't want to do that. Right? So when you want to do that, that's dasya, that's servant. And then friendship is sakya, like his brothers have friendship, like brotherly friendship or friends. And then the 4th one was naturally the vatsalya, his parents. They treated him like their son. This is called vatsalya, parenthood. And then the 5th one is madhurya. Vasita Devi is his consort, his wife. So there's 5 rasas. Thank you for asking. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Yes.
Krishna. Thank you so much for the explanation. I will go to His Grace Srimad Varaha Prabhu, please.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Pranam Varaha Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sorry. Yeah, actually, only now, I'm beginning to think about something I've heard before, which I thought was relevant. But now, this discussion makes me to think about that. I heard sometimes before, I read from some authority saying that that this Buddha, Gautama Buddha, is not actually the one that is being referred to in the Dasya avatar. And it was difficult for me to even think about it. I just thought, maybe that's just one of those. But then now the question posed by Sayadaw Prabhu made one thing that really, is he really one of the Vishnu avatars? That might be the reason why those authorities were saying that this is not the Buddha that is being referred to. I read it somewhere. Some authorities acharyas, were commenting that no, this is not the Buddha. It's another Buddha. Yeah. So maybe, I don't know, if you may have to do some research and find out. You surely find.
Well, this is what Rupa Goswami, Jiva Goswami, what has said is fairly authoritative, I would think, because he says that it is. Jiva Goswami is the most authoritative because he is the one person who's done a lot of really heavy lifting in terms of making us understand the philosophy when there are confusions. So if Jiva Goswami says that it is from a different Kali Yuga, then he is from a different Kali Yuga. I'm trying to get, I have here, it's 27, and what is that? Buddha is in text 37. Just give me a minute. I hope I can get something here. 37. Yeah, it's good. I much like classes like this where we all talk.
I think 2737, I was discussing this verse with my godbrother yesterday. It mentions that this Lord Buddha is Krishna himself.
Yeah. The verse Kalki Vatsalam Nadeva. I'm looking at this purport. I have also by something that is written directly by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Doesn't say anything here. No. I have actually the books, the Sadarshani Tika of Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's explanations of Srimad Bhagavatam, which Srila Prabhupada used, a lot of it is used to develop.
In fact, Srila Prabhupada states what you quoted of Jiva Goswami in this particular.
Yeah, there it is. You have it here?
Yes, it's on the screen.
So here, this is what Prabhupada says. The incarnation of Lord Buddha is not the same Buddha incarnation we have in the present history of mankind, which is a written history that we know. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, the Buddha incarnation mentioned in this verse appeared in a different Kali Yuga.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying, Keshava Dritta, Buddha Sharira.
Yeah.
Right? So he said that is mentioned from a different Kali. So in the duration of life of one of the Manu, there are more than 72 Kali Yugas. Right, that is in the life of one Manu. There's one day of Brahma, there's 508,000 or whatever, I don't know, so many Manus. So there are so many Kali Yugas, right? In the duration of one Manu, there are 72 Kali Yugas. And therefore, when the history is being spoken here, why Prabhupada puts this in this context of the one Manu? Because generally, when there is this one Manu, he is in charge of a period of kalpas, which is one Manvantara, right? But in one day of Brahma, there is 14 Manvantaras, but there's 71 Divya Yugas. So therefore, Prabhupada says that there's so many 72, Divya Yugas, which means Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali is one Divya Yuga. It goes on. So there's 72. So when there is a story in the Srimad Bhagavatam written about one Manvantara, that's why one of the subject matter of Srimad Bhagavatam is one Manvantara. And therefore, sometimes in this one Manvantara, there may be different Kali Yugas, and some of the stories, for example, there's a confusion between the Sweta Varaha avatar and the Nila Varaha avatar. And when Lord Brahma, he's complaining to Swambhuva Manu, well, the earth planet has been knocked down. And therefore, Lord Varaha comes and he takes it and then he places it in its right orbit, in the right position. Then also, Rupa Goswami writes in Laghu Bhagavatamrita that there is a confusion between Sweta Varaha and Nila Varaha. And there may be also, they call it Kalpa Dosh. There is something from one Kalpa being narrated into this Kalpa, which means Kalpa means a cycle of, yugas. So, which means that something happened in the last cycle of yuga is being confused with this cycle of yuga. Or sometimes not even confused, but the acharyas, they're looking at it because what they write, what Vyasadeva write, is he write what he's seeing. Lord Vyasadeva, he goes into samadhi, right? Asampragyata samadhi, and he sees all these pastimes and he writes, So therefore, sometimes he may be seeing the pastimes and he's relating some incident that happened about some pastime that happened in this one Kali Yuga and this one Kali Yuga, and he may be mixing it together. So that's why the acharyas come and they try to, calm our brains down.
Yeah.
Varaha Prabhu, you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, thank you for finding that purport, because I remember reading it somewhere that it's not the same Buddha. So at least it's been clarified now.
Yeah. And also you can go to Laghu Bhagavatamrita, and Jiva Goswami clarifies a lot of these things. It will take me 5 minutes to find it, so I don't want to take all your time.
Yeah. We have one comment from Goshania. It says, I think that Lord Buddha appeared as an incarnation of Lord Krishna to raise the consciousness of people in this current materialistic world. we are entering the age of Aquarius, age of consciousness, and he came to help all those to be detached from this material world like he did while he was meditating.
Do you want me to comment on that?
This is from
Actually,
Goswami.
the Acharyas say that the specific purpose Lord Buddha came is a scheme that was set rolling by Lord Krishna himself to move people from one philosophy to the other gradually, from Advaitavad to Vishishtadvaitavad. And then at some point they had to even decry the whole Vedas because people misunderstood the Vedas. So, and then when people were completely messed up about the Vedas, then the Lord came and Shankaracharya, and he said, don't follow the Vedas. Don't follow the Vedas. So then they move from monism to dualism, then, you know, more specified dualism, and then to understanding the philosophy we have. So these explanations are sometimes nice, but actually, if people actually follow Lord Buddha now, there's going to be nothing good's going to happen. Nothing good's going to happen because Lord Buddha is actually preaching against the Vedas.
Yeah.
He's preaching atheism. He's Nastika. He is preaching atheism. Atheism means that he's preaching against the Vedic literatures. Why he's preaching against the Vedic literatures? Why? Because at that time, people misunderstood the Vedic literatures and they used the Vedic literatures to justify mass slaughter of animals. So he said, don't follow these Vedic literatures. Follow me. So therefore, they stopped the slaughter of animals. So that's why he made his main principle, ahimsa paro dharma, right? But to be able to do that, he had to tell them, don't follow what's in the Vedic literatures, because he had no ability at that point, to completely change their mind to say, follow the right thing. So he threw away the whole Vedic literature. So he is considered to be an atheist, Nastic, because one who does not believe in the Vedas is a Nastic, right? And then Lord Shankaracharya came. And Shankaracharya came and he tried to bring the philosophy of monism. All is one. Aham Brahmasmi. And then Madhvacharya came. Then Ramanujacharya came. And then they developed the philosophy nicely into Vaishnavism. And then Lord Chaitanya came and developed the philosophy fully into Vaishnavism. And we are able to understand, follow Veda, Srimad Bhagavatam, Upanishads, and everything nicely and go back, you know, to the original system of Shastra. So Lord Buddha did a service at a particular point of time, but Lord Buddha's contribution now is not needed. Please, Lord Buddha, go away.
Thank you so much, Sri Advaita Krishna Prabhu. Because Goswami Prabhu, well, what you reference to is what is commonly known amongst people who are practicing spiritualism, some sort of spirituality outside of Vaishnava teachings. Like Advaita Krishna Prabhu said, what you reference to is not exactly what our acharyas say. Srila Prabhupada has said that because Lord Buddha is an avatar of Krishna, because Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Krishna, we respect them both, but we don't accept their philosophy.
Yeah. Shankaracharya is an incarnation of Lord Shiva.
Yeah. But we don't accept their philosophies because their philosophies take us away from the lotus feet of Krishna.
Yes.
Yeah. So thank you so much. It seems probably, you see, that's what happens when you speak so beautifully and you churn the ocean, so many gems come out. So devotees have questions. Govinda Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. My respectful obeisances to you. And thank you very much for Very nice presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam. This discussion is really, really deep. And one has to be chanting Hare Krishna for some time, otherwise you'll be lost in this kind of discussion. But I'm very happy to hear you mentioning that there are 77 Kali Yogas. It's first time of hearing this. And I'm also wondering.
71, is it 71 or 72? I think 71. Prabhuji, right?
Oh,
Greater Krishna Prabhu.
71 or 72?
Yeah, 71
Yeah.
and in some portion, yeah.
Yes.
Or 71, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and, there are 4 ages.
Yes.
And different type of worship for self-realization. Yes. And we also know the circumstances surrounding around the advent of Lord Chaitanya.
Yes.
So the other Kali Yugas, which of the incarnation descend to elevate the consciousness of mankind. You know, in this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Prabhu came, Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya. And so the other Kali Yugas, which of the incarnation that came to deliver humanity?
Actually, it's an interesting question because Lord Chaitanya comes once in a day over Brahma.
Yeah.
And that particular point at time when Lord Chaitanya comes, he also once in a day over Brahma. So which means that in one day of Brahma, there's 14 Manvantara. And each Manvantara goes for 71 Divya Yugas. Bear with me for 1 minute. I will explain to you. So 71 times 14 is 1000, roughly, plus or minus, okay? So if you take, right, the 1000 cycle of yugas, Govinda, you're there with me?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you take 1000 cycle of yugas, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Again, Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. Right? That one cycle is called a Divya Yuga. So one Divya Yuga is Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali. So 1000 Divya Yuga makes one day of Brahma. But this one day of Brahma, you follow me? This one day of Brahma is divided into 14 shifts because a very long day, right? It's a long day. Just like in a factory, if the factory is working 24 hours, they will divide it into 3 shifts. That's what my Guru Maharaj explained to me. So he said, so that one very long day of Brahma is divided into 14 shifts of management. And each shift of management is called a Manvantara. So the Manvantara has one Manu. Then he comes with his sons. Then he comes with his own Shaptarishis. Sometimes he comes with an incarnation of the Supreme Lord. Right? Together. And then like they come with a whole retinue and they're like a cabinet, a ministry. They're like a management system. Just like when the government is put into place, they have a prime minister, they have a minister, they have everything, attorney general and everything. So this one Manvantara, the Manu is considered to be like the prime minister. And then he comes with his own sets of demigods and everything. Right? So this one Manvantara, right? It goes on for 71 or 72, 71 point something. So let's say 72 cycle of Divya Yugas, right? So sometimes when you hear that some incarnation appears once in each Manvantara, that means they will appear 14 times in a day of Brahma because it's 14 Manvantara, right? But this Lord Chaitanya, he appears once in a day of Brahma. That means that in this whole cycle of 1000 Divya Yugas, he appears once. And that Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, You know, Nandanandan, Jashodanandan, Krishna also appears once, and it appears at the same time. So other Krishnas appears in the other yugas. So others' personality appears. Now, if you ask me who appears, that answer is very, how do they appear and what do they do? That answer is very difficult for us to answer here. The only persons who can answer those is the liberated souls who sees them all. Whereas the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our main proof, our main pramana, explain to us about this one day of Lord Brahma sometimes, or one Manvantara, and so on and so forth. It doesn't explain, because after this one day of Lord Brahma, right, everything that we know after this one day of Brahma, everything that we know from the lower planetary systems all the way up to the demigods, everything is destroyed. Everything is destroyed. The Maharta Parachanalok stays, but everything else is destroyed. So then the explanations that are given in the Shastra is about that period of time. So therefore, when you ask this question, Govinda Prabhu, I may be wrong a little bit in my mathematics and this and that, but in essence, but if you ask what happens in the other, we don't know. So sometimes we ask what happens in the other universes, but we don't know. From our understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam, we know what is taught there. The other things we can make conjecture, or we can speculate, or we can extrapolate, or we can do deductions. But direct statements, we don't know. So Varaha Prabhu, you want to come in and help us here?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yeah, please, you may unmute Srimad Varahacharya.
Jai Prabhu. So we also heard that Krishna is called Tri Yuga, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Which means that one reason that explains why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a hidden incarnation, and that it also explains that except for this yuga, the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, in the other yugas, Krishna appeared in 3 yugas. He appears only in the 3 yugas. That is the explanation given. That Krishna appears in 3 yugas. That's why it's called 3 yuga. And this incarnation of Lord Chaitanya
you mean, let me get a clarification, Varaha. You mean in the other Divya Yugas, not this one including, but in the other Divya Yugas, which means the cycle of Satya, Treta, Dwapar, Kali,
right?
Krishna appears in only 3 in the other ones. That's what you're saying?
That's why it's called 3 yuga.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, okay, carry on.
That's why it's called 3 yuga. So his appearance in Kali Yuga is hidden in the form of Lord Chaitanya. Now, also when they mention the different carnations in which Vishnu or Krishna appeared, it's also 3. So, which means that in all the Kali Yugas, the Lord actually does not appear directly like an incarnation. That is the explanation. I may not be 100% correct, but that is what I've heard. This question had come up before, and I heard that the explanation that Krishna appeared only in 3 yugas, and Lord Chaitanya is an exception in Kali Yuga, this Kali Yuga. Now, there may be more elaborate explanation than that.
We have to look into it, because I never even thought about what you just said before, because I'm thinking always in terms of, because Krishna, why would he be called Triyugi? In this age, in this Divya Yuga, he's called Triyugi because Lord Chaitanya is a hidden incarnation. So what you're saying is in the other ages, that Triyugi principle applies again, where he doesn't have any incarnations in the age of Kali. So he only appears in the free ages. Yeah, it's a very interesting statement. It's a very interesting point. It's worth looking into it. It's interesting. It's very nice. Yeah. Thank you. It's good food for thought.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you all so much.
Thank you.
It's very interesting discussing Krishna and his pure devotees. In fact, I was talking to one of my god brothers yesterday, and we were talking about Srila Vyasadeva, whether because earlier on, last week Friday, when His Grace Srivas Vanachari spoke, there was this question about Parashuram, whom we discussed before. We discussed Lord Ramachandra, that he's an incarnation of Krishna, but we were wondering whether he is a Jiva Tattva or Vishnu Tattva. So, but I remembered at the time that in the Hari Vamsha, it is mentioned that he is a Vishnu Tattva. And I did a research later on, and I found in the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srila Prabhupada categorically states that Parashuram is a Vishnu Tattva. So we're thinking about Srila Vyasadeva, and we also came across that, just like you're saying, in every Dwapara Yuga, Krishna appears as a literal incarnation in the form of Vyasadeva. So we have different individuals who take the role as Vyasadeva. And it's very interesting. So it's like every Kali Yuga, we have another loving entity, a living being, playing the role of Vyasadeva.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah, so Prabhu, if that is true, then at the other Kali Yugas, who played the role of Lord Chaitanya?
Well, it's a conjecture, not a question. It was where am I now? Am I lost? Wait a minute. There's no mention. There's no mention anywhere. So it's like, that's what I'm saying. We can conjecture, but we cannot answer. So I would not do that. I'll not speculate. So, but the thing about the Vyasadeva Govinda Prabhu is clearly mentioned. I have a file, but I can't open it. I have a file with all the list of all the different Vyasadevs. I actually shared in my classes before, but it's Manvantaras and the different Vyasadeva. For example, the next Vyasadeva is going to be Ashwatthama. There you have it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably, I think.
And the previous Vyasadeva was Parasara Muni.
Yeah. I think Govinda Prabhu's question you've already answered in the course of your lecture, because I was having a discussion with another god brother on this same topic, and what came out was that since Lord Chaitanya appears once in the day of Lord Brahma, Lord Chaitanya does not appear in any of the other Kali Yugas except this one. That makes all of us as living entities in this particular dispensation very, very fortunate.
Yeah, that's what once in a day of Lord Brahma, which means he doesn't appear.
He doesn't.
Yeah, because within the gambit of our sort of life in this universe for this one day of Brahma, the next day of Brahma, we will come again if you're not liberated. Then we will have a different set of incarnations and a different set of everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Goshania, David, did you have something to say? Please, you may unmute. Okay. Thank you.
I'm trying to find this file and I'd like to share with the devotee. Just wait a minute.
Okay.
Well, yes. Yes, okay. Can you allow me to share something?
Sure. Give me a second. Yes, you may now.
Okay, here. This gives a bit of explanation. Can you all see?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the seventh Manvantara, the interval of rulership of Vivaswata Manu, right? He's called the seventh Manu, and he's a son of Vivaswan. Okay, now he has 10 sons, etc. And in this Manvantara or reign of Manu, among the demigods, there are the Adityas, the Vasus. So there's a particular group of demigods also in each Manvantara. There's Adityas, the Vasus. The king of heaven is also one particular person, and he's Purandara. And there's a particular set of 7 sages or Shapta Rishis, and so on. And then, because the Manvantara will go, right, for a certain cycle, they will have 14 Indras in this one Manvantara. Yeah. So each Manu rules during a period called a Manvantara, and 14 Manvantaras in one day of Brahma, they will have 14 Manvantaras, and therefore we'll have 14 Indras. So you see 14 Manvantaras and 14 Indras. And then it goes on like that to explain, right? This Manvantara, the different Indras, and then you also have here, this is what I was trying to explain, that the life of Brahma is divided into these, this Manvantara in 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, up to 14. And this one Manvantara is like 1/14 of one day of Lord Brahma. And this is one day of Lord Brahma. And the lifespan of Brahma is 100 years. And this is just one day. So one day of Brahma is called a kalpa. And it's 1,000 cycle of yugas. So from here to here is 1,000 cycle of yugas. And it's divided into 14. And then if you take one, it's called a manvantara. Right? And one manvantara, therefore, it has 71 divya yugas. This is what we're saying.
Yeah.
And in each divya yuga, there is Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali. There is Satya Yuga and Kali. Kali Yuga is smallest, 432. You multiply Kali Yuga by 2, you'll get Dwapar Yuga, which is 432 times 2, 864. You take 432 times 3, you'll get this Treta Yuga, which is 4 times the length of Kali Yuga, 3 times the length of Kali Yuga. And then you take 432, you multiply by 4, you'll get this, which is 4 times the length of Kali Yuga, which is Satyuga. So it goes on like that. So you can go from bottom up or you can go from top down. But this is how it is. So once you understand, why is it important to understand this? Why Bhagavatam goes into detail? Because then we can understand, oh, gee, I am here in this one little Kali Yuga, and so many calendars is circulating. And this in one day of Brahma, I am, there's so many kalpas. And in this one section here, which is called a Manvantara, and in this Manvantara, there's 71 Divya Yugas, and one Divya Yuga, which is one cycle of 1,000 Yuga, one cycle of 4 Yugas, it is all this and this one Kali Yuga. So if Lord Chaitanya, in this one day of Brahma here, he appears only once here.
Yeah.
Now if you can follow it a bit.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Right. So then you may ask, okay, in this one day of Lord Brahma, so many kalpas, so many manvantaras, so many divya yugas, he appears once. Quite something.
Yeah.
So yeah. Okay. So this it makes us so insignificant too. It makes us like, who are we? When you read these things, when you understand creation and secondary creation, and you understand the scale of time and things, how they are, you cannot become proud.
Not at all.
Not at all. you know, you cannot, you're less than an insect, less than an ant. So thank you very much for your company and for your association. Always a pleasure to be with all my friends. And Bhakti Damodar Maharaj is here, and he came on Sunday, and we spent 3 hours together. It was fun.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was nice. We're talking about Gurudev. We're sitting in the corner and we're just talking about Gurudev. So it was very nice. So thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ki jai. It's always blissful to have your association and your love and your wisdom in particular. So it's an honor and a privilege. We thank you so much. So at this point, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace Advaita Krishna Prabhu. Jai. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
all glories to His Grace Advaita Krishna Prabhu ki jai. All glories to assembled Vaishnavi devotees ki jai.
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.